My name is Kendra Williams, and for 12 years, I thought I had built the perfect life. I was 34 years old, a senior marketing manager at a tech company, living in a beautiful three-bedroom house in the suburbs just outside Atlanta. My husband Marcus was a sales director at an automotive dealership. We had started dating in college, got married at 23, and spent over a decade building what I thought was an unbreakable partnership. But I should have known. The signs were there for months, maybe even years. I just chose not to see them. It was a Friday afternoon in late September when everything started to unravel. I was working from home that day, finishing up a presentation for a client meeting on Monday. Marcus came home early from work, which was unusual. He walked straight past my home office without saying hello, went upstairs, and I heard him moving around in our bedroom. I thought maybe he was not feeling well. About 20 minutes later, he came downstairs with a small duffel bag. I stepped out of my office. Marcus, what's going on? Are you okay? He barely looked at me. I need to clear my head. I am going away for the weekend. Going away? Where? Just away. I will be back Sunday night. His tone was cold, distant, like I was a stranger asking him for directions. Can we talk about this? I mean, is everything okay between us? He finally looked at me, and the expression on his face made my stomach drop. It was not anger. It was not sadness. It was complete and total indifference. Everything is fine, Kendra. I just need some space. I will see you Sunday. He walked out the door before I could say another word. I stood in the hallway, listening to his car pull out of the driveway, feeling like the floor had just disappeared beneath my feet. That weekend was one of the longest of my life. I tried calling him Saturday morning. He did not answer. I sent text messages asking if he was safe, if he needed anything. No response. By Saturday evening, I was starting to panic. I called his best friend Derek. Derek, have you heard from Marcus? He left yesterday, and I have not been able to reach him. There was a pause. Kendra, I think you should talk to Marcus about this. Talk to him about what? He is not answering my calls. Another pause. I really think this is between you two. Derek, please. I am his wife. If something is wrong, I need to know. He sighed. Look, all I know is Marcus has been talking about making some big changes in his life. That is all I can say. I hung up feeling sick. Big changes. What did that mean? Sunday night came. I sat in the living room, watching the clock. 8 o'clock passed. 9 o'clock. Finally, at 9:30, I heard his car in the driveway. Marcus walked in looking relaxed. Happy even. Like he had just come back from a spa weekend instead of abandoning his wife without explanation. Marcus, where were you? I've been worried sick. He set his bag down and looked at me with that same cold expression from Friday. I was thinking, and I realized something important. My heart was pounding. Okay, what did you realize? He walked closer to me, and I saw something in his eyes I had never seen before. It was contempt. I found someone better than you. The words hung in the air like poison. I literally felt my breath catch in my throat. What did you just say? You heard me. I met someone who actually appreciates me. Someone who makes me feel alive. Not like a roommate I am stuck with. I stood up, my legs shaking. Marcus, are you telling me you cheated on me this weekend? He shrugged. I am telling you I found what I have been missing. And now I know I deserve better than this. He gestured around our home, the home we had bought together, the life we had built. I felt tears starting to form, but something else was rising inside me too. Something cold and clear. So you disappear for a weekend, sleep with someone else, and come back to tell me you deserve better? That's right. And I think we both know this marriage has been over for a while. We have just been going through the motions. My mind was racing. Part of me wanted to scream, to throw something, to collapse. But another part, the part that had spent 12 years being the responsible one, the planner, the problem solver, that part was already thinking ahead. I forced myself to take a breath. Okay, if that is how you feel, then I think you should stay somewhere else tonight. He actually smiled. Already planned on it. I will come get more of my things tomorrow. He picked up his bag and walked toward the door. Marcus. He turned back. I need to know one thing. How long has this been going on? He paused, considering whether to answer. Then he said, long enough to know I made the right choice. And with that, he left. I stood in my living room, in the house I had spent years making into a home, and felt like my entire world had just imploded. But as the shock started to wear off, something else took its place. Rage. Cold, calculated rage. Because Marcus had made a crucial mistake. He thought I would fall apart. He thought I would beg him to stay, to work things out, to give us another chance. But what he did not know was that I was not that person anymore. And what he especially did not know was what I had been quietly preparing for over the past 6 months. You see, Marcus was not as clever as he thought he was. 3 months earlier, back in June, I had noticed charges on our joint credit card that did not make sense. Dinners at expensive restaurants on nights. He said he was working late. Hotel stays in the city when he claimed he had overnight client meetings. Purchases from jewelry stores that never resulted in gifts for me. At first, I told myself there must be explanations. But the more I noticed, the more the pattern became clear. So I did what any smart woman would do in my position. I started documenting everything. I opened a separate bank account he did not know about. I started diverting part of my paycheck there every month. I made copies of all our financial records, our mortgage documents, our investment accounts. I took photos of every suspicious charge. I saved every text message where he lied about his whereabouts. And most importantly, back in July, I had scheduled a consultation with one of the best divorce attorneys in Atlanta. Her name was Patricia Morrison. She was in her 50s, sharp as a razor, with a reputation for absolutely destroying unfaithful spouses in court. I had told Marcus I was meeting a friend for lunch that day. Instead, I went to Patricia's office and laid out everything I had noticed. The suspicious charges, the late nights, the emotional distance. Patricia had listened carefully, taking notes. At the end, she looked at me and said something I would never forget. Kendra, I can tell you are hoping I will say your husband is not cheating. But based on what you have told me, there is a 95% chance he is. So here is what I want you to do. Go home. Do not confront him. Do not let him know you suspect anything. Just document everything. Every charge, every late night, every lie. Because if this ends in divorce, and I think it will, you want to be the one who has been preparing while he thinks he is getting away with something. I had left her office feeling sick, but also strangely empowered. For the first time in months, I was not the victim. I was taking control. Over the next 2 months, I had built an airtight case. I had credit card statements showing charges at boutique hotels. I had screenshots of his location history from the phone tracking app we used for emergencies, showing him at places he claimed he never went. I had text messages where he told me he was working late, corroborated by my own text to his assistant confirming he had left the office hours earlier. And 3 weeks before his little weekend disappearance, I had hired a private investigator. The investigator's name was James Tucker. He was a former police detective who specialized in infidelity cases. He was expensive, but Patricia said he was worth every penny. I paid James $5,000 to follow Marcus for 2 weeks, and James did not disappoint. Within the first week, James had photographs of Marcus meeting a woman at various locations around the city. Coffee shops, restaurants, and yes, hotels. The woman's name was Simone Gardner. She was 26 years old, 8 years younger than me. She worked as a receptionist at the corporate office of the dealership where Marcus was employed. Pretty, but in an artificial way. Too much makeup, too much hair dye, clothes that were trying way too hard. James's report was thorough. He had photos of them holding hands, kissing in parking lots, entering and leaving hotel rooms together. He had dates, times, locations, everything documented with timestamps and GPS coordinates. The report cost another $3,000. Best money I ever spent. When Marcus came home that Sunday night and told me he had found someone better, he thought he was shocking me with new information. He thought he was in control of the situation. He had no idea I had known about Simone for 3 weeks. He had no idea that while he was off having his little romantic weekend, I had already filed for divorce. The papers were being prepared by Patricia's office, waiting only for my final approval to be served. So when he walked out the door that night, confident that he had delivered a devastating blow, I did not fall apart. I smiled. I waited for the door to close. I waited for his car to drive away. And then I picked up my phone and called Patricia. She answered on the second ring. Patricia Morrison. Patricia, it is Kendra Williams. He told me about the affair. It is time. I could hear the satisfaction in her voice. I will have the papers ready to be served by Wednesday morning. Where will he be? He said he is staying somewhere else. I am guessing with her. Can we serve him at work? Absolutely. I will have a process server waiting at the dealership. And Kendra, based on everything you have given me, this is going to be one of the easiest divorces I have ever handled. He walked into a trap of his own making. That is exactly what I was hoping to hear. The next morning, Monday, I went to work as usual. I gave my presentation. I smiled at my colleagues. I acted like everything was perfectly normal. Marcus came to the house Monday evening to get more clothes. I let him in without argument. I even helped him pack, staying calm and eerily pleasant. He seemed confused by my attitude. You are taking this really well. What choice do I have? You made your decision. I am glad you understand. This does not have to be ugly, Kendra. We can handle this like adults. I absolutely agree. He actually looked relieved. Good. I will have my attorney reach out to your attorney this week to start working out the details. I smiled. That sounds perfect. What he did not know was that there would be no negotiation. Patricia had already drawn up papers demanding the house, half his pension, half his 401k, spousal support, and compensation for his infidelity under Georgia law. Wednesday morning came. I was sitting in my home office when my phone rang. It was Patricia. The papers were just served. He was at the dealership. According to the process server, he turned white as a sheet. I leaned back in my chair, feeling a satisfaction I had not felt in months. How did it go down? He was at his desk in the main showroom. The process server walked right up to him in front of his colleagues and handed him the envelope. Apparently, he started yelling that there must be some mistake, that he never agreed to any divorce. The server just told him to read the papers and walked out. I wish I could have seen his face. Oh, it gets better. He apparently tried to call you 7 times immediately after. Did you answer? Nope. I blocked his number this morning. Good. Keep it that way. Let him go through me now. And Kendra, you need to see what we are demanding. This is going to hurt him where it counts. I pulled up the email she sent. The divorce petition was 37 pages long. It outlined every charge, every hotel stay, every lie. It included James's investigation report, complete with photos. It included financial records showing Marcus had been siphoning money from our joint savings account to finance his affair. And most importantly, it included Georgia's law regarding fault-based divorce. Since Marcus had committed adultery, I was entitled to a larger share of marital assets. The petition demanded our house be awarded to me, valued at $450,000. We still owed $200,000 on the mortgage, which meant $250,000 in equity. Marcus would get none of it. It demanded half of his pension, which after 12 years of marriage was substantial, half of his 401k, which had about $90,000 in it, and it demanded temporary spousal support of $3,000 per month until the divorce was finalized, then permanent alimony of $1,500 per month for 5 years. On top of that, it demanded reimbursement for the money he had spent on the affair. Our credit card statements showed he had charged over $40,000 in the past year on hotels, dinners, gifts, and trips that were clearly not for business and not for me. If Patricia got everything she was asking for, Marcus would be financially destroyed. My phone rang again. It was an unknown number. I knew it was Marcus calling from a different phone. I let it go to voicemail. The voicemail was exactly what I expected. His voice was panicked. Kendra, what the hell is this? You filed for divorce without even talking to me? And you are asking for the house? For half my pension? This is insane. Call me back right now. I deleted the voicemail and went back to work. That evening, there was pounding on my front door. I looked through the peephole and saw Marcus standing there, his face red, holding the divorce papers. I opened the door but left the chain lock on. Yes, Yes, that is all you have to say. Kendra, this is crazy. You cannot just file for divorce because I was honest with you. I was honest. Is that what we are calling it? I made a mistake, okay? But this is vindictive. You are trying to take everything. Actually, Marcus, I am taking what I am legally entitled to. Georgia is a fault-based state. You committed adultery. That means I get a larger share of our assets. We can work this out. We do not need lawyers. Oh, we absolutely need lawyers. Because you see, I have been working with a lawyer for 3 months now, and she is very, very good. His face went from red to white. 3 months? I smiled. Did you really think I did not notice? The charges on our credit card? The nights you came home late smelling like perfume that was not mine? The text messages where you said you were at work, but your location showed you across town? You were spying on me? No, Marcus. I was paying attention. There is a difference. This is not fair. Not fair. You spent over $40,000 on your affair, using our joint credit card, money that should have gone to our mortgage, our savings, our future. And you think me filing for divorce is not fair? He tried a different tactic. His voice got softer. Kendra, please. I know I messed up, but we have been together for 12 years. That has to count for something. It does count. It counts as 12 years I invested in someone who was lying to me. Now, I need you to leave my property. All communication from now on goes through my attorney. Your property? This is our house. Actually, you should read page 12 of the divorce petition. Since I have been making the mortgage payments for the past 6 months from my separate account, the one you did not know about, and since you have been diverting marital funds to finance an affair, I have a very strong claim to this house. His mouth fell open. You have a separate account. You are not the only one who can keep secrets, Marcus. I closed the door in his face and locked it. He pounded on the door for another 5 minutes, yelling about how unfair this was, how I was being vindictive, how he would fight this. I did not open the door again. I just called Patricia and told her to document his harassment. The next few weeks were a blur of legal proceedings. Marcus hired an attorney, some young guy fresh out of law school, who clearly did not know what he was up against. They tried to fight the petition. They claimed the private investigator's evidence was inadmissible. Patricia shot that down immediately. Georgia allows private investigations in divorce cases, especially when infidelity is involved. They claimed I had no right to the house. Patricia presented my bank statements showing I had been solely responsible for mortgage payments for 6 months. She also presented evidence that Marcus had been planning to move in with Simone, which showed he had abandoned the marital home. They tried to argue that Marcus did not have the income to pay spousal support. Patricia presented his pay stubs showing he made $85,000 per year as a sales director, more than enough to pay $3,000 per month while still maintaining a reasonable lifestyle. Every argument his attorney made, Patricia demolished. But the real bombshell came during discovery. Patricia subpoenaed Marcus's bank records. What we found was so much worse than I had imagined. Marcus had not just been spending money on Simone. He had opened a separate credit card in only his name, one I never knew about. On that card, he had charged over $60,000 in the past 2 years. Luxury vacations to Miami and Las Vegas with Simone. A diamond bracelet worth $8,000. Weekend trips to resorts in the Bahamas. Even the down payment on a car for her, a brand new BMW that cost $45,000. And the kicker? He had been making minimum payments on this card, letting the interest pile up. The card now had a balance of $73,000. When Patricia showed me the statements, I nearly threw up. $73,000 in secret debt, all spent on his mistress. But it got worse. Marcus had also taken out a personal loan for $25,000, using our house as collateral without telling me. This was technically fraud, since I was also on the deed. Patricia immediately filed a motion with the court showing that Marcus had defrauded me and put our marital home at risk. The judge was not happy. The hearing for temporary orders was scheduled for 6 weeks after I filed. Both attorneys, both of us, and the judge met in the courtroom. Marcus showed up in a suit, trying to look respectable. But I could see he had lost weight. He looked stressed. Good. Patricia stood before the judge and methodically laid out the case. the adultery, the secret spending, the personal loan taken out fraudulently, the credit card debt. Marcus's attorney tried to argue that I was equally responsible for the marital debt. Patricia shut that down immediately. Your Honor, Mrs. Williams had no knowledge of these debts. She did not authorize the credit card. She did not sign for the personal loan. She has been making the mortgage payments while Mr. Williams diverted funds to finance his affair. This is textbook financial infidelity. The judge looked at Marcus. Mr. Williams, did you inform your wife about the credit card? Marcus hesitated. Your Honor, I did not think I needed to. It was in my name only. The judge frowned. But you were married, and this card has $73,000 of debt on it. Did you use any marital income to pay this card? Marcus shifted in his seat. Some of the payments, yes. So you used marital funds to pay for debt your wife did not know about. Debt incurred because of an extramarital affair? Marcus did not answer. The judge turned to Patricia. Counselor, what are you requesting for temporary orders? We request that Mr. Williams be ordered to leave the marital home immediately, that he be prohibited from accessing any marital accounts, that he pay temporary spousal support of $3,000 per month, and that he be solely responsible for the debt he incurred on the secret credit card and personal loan. The judge looked at Marcus's attorney. Counselor, I assume you object to all of this? The young attorney stood up nervously. Your Honor, my client is willing to leave the home, but he cannot afford $3,000 per month in support. He has significant debt obligations, debt he created through his own actions. The judge looked back at the paperwork. Mr. Williams, you make $85,000 per year, correct? Yes, Your Honor. And you were able to spend over $60,000 on trips and gifts for your girlfriend. But you cannot pay support to your wife? Your Honor, those expenses were over 2 years. I do not care if they were over 5 years, Mr. Williams. You had the money to finance an affair. You have the money to support your wife while this divorce proceeds. The judge signed the temporary orders. Marcus was to vacate the house within 72 hours. He was to pay $3,000 per month in temporary support. He was prohibited from selling or hiding any assets, and he was solely responsible for the credit card debt and personal loan. I watched Marcus's face as the judge read the orders. He looked like he wanted to vomit. As we left the courtroom, Patricia pulled me aside. That went better than I could have hoped. Judges hate financial infidelity, and your husband basically admitted to everything on the stand. What happens next? Now we move toward the final divorce. Based on today, I think we can get you the house, half his pension, half his 401k, and permanent alimony. He shot himself in the foot so badly that his attorney is going to recommend he settle rather than go to trial. How long will that take? Probably another 6 to 8 weeks. Georgia has a mandatory waiting period. But based on this hearing, I think his attorney is going to try to get him to agree to our terms pretty quickly. Patricia was right. 2 weeks after the temporary hearing, Marcus's attorney called her. Marcus wants to settle. Patricia called me immediately. He wants to negotiate. What are your terms? Everything we asked for in the petition. The house, the assets, the alimony. I am not budging. There is one more thing. He wants to know if you will agree to lower the spousal support to $2,000 per month instead of $3,000 and reduce the duration from 5 years to 3 years. In exchange, he will give up fighting for any of the house equity and will not contest the asset division. I thought about it. The house equity was the most important thing to me. If he stopped fighting on that, it meant I would own the house free and clear, and he would be responsible for his half of the remaining mortgage, even though he would not live there. Tell him yes. $2,000 per month for 3 years, but only if he signs off on everything else without contest. Done. The settlement was drawn up within a week. I read through all 42 pages carefully. Marcus would get none of the house equity. I would refinance the mortgage in my name only, and he would be released from his obligation. In exchange, he would give me $50,000, his half of the equity, which he would get from liquidating part of his 401k. I would get half of his pension, which would be paid out when he retired. Half of what remained in his 401k after he paid me the equity settlement. And $2,000 per month in alimony for 3 years totaling $72,000. He would keep his car, his personal belongings, and the debt. All $73,000 on the credit card, plus the $25,000 personal loan. In total, I was walking away with the house, over $90,000 in immediate cash and retirement funds, and $72,000 in alimony. Marcus was walking away with nearly $100,000 in debt, no house, and depleted retirement accounts. I signed the settlement agreement without hesitation. The final hearing was scheduled for late November, 3 months after Marcus had come home and told me he found someone better. We appeared before the judge one last time. Marcus looked like a shell of his former self. He had dark circles under his eyes, his suit did not fit right, and he would not make eye contact with me. The judge reviewed the settlement agreement. This is all agreed upon by both parties. Both attorneys confirmed. Very well. The settlement is approved. The marriage between Kendra Williams and Marcus Williams is hereby dissolved. Mrs. Williams, you will retain your maiden name? Yes, Your Honor. The decree is entered. Court is adjourned. And just like that, it was over. Marcus tried to approach me as we left the courtroom, but Patricia stepped between us. All communication goes through me, Mr. Williams. That has not changed. He looked at me over her shoulder. Kendra, I am sorry. I really am. I looked at him, this man I had spent 12 years of my life with, this man who had thrown away everything for a 26-year-old receptionist. No, Marcus, you are not sorry you did it. You are sorry you got caught. There is a difference. I walked away without looking back. The next few months were a blur of paperwork. I refinanced the house in my name only. The mortgage payment was high, but with my salary and the alimony, I could afford it comfortably. I received the $50,000 settlement check from Marcus's 401k withdrawal. I put $25,000 toward the mortgage principal, cutting years off my payment timeline. I put the other $25,000 in a high-yield savings account as an emergency fund. I changed the locks on the house. I painted the bedroom a new color. I bought new furniture for the living room. I slowly erased every trace of Marcus from my home, and I started to heal. 3 months after the divorce was finalized, I was having coffee with my friend Jasmine. She had been my rock through the entire ordeal, listening to me vent, bringing me wine and takeout on bad days, and celebrating with me on good days. Girl, you look amazing. You have this glow. I feel amazing. For the first time in years, I feel like myself again. Have you heard anything about Marcus? I shook my head. No, and I do not want to. Patricia told me all communication would go through her office if anything came up, but so far, nothing. Jasmine grinned. Well, I might have heard something. Oh no. What? So my cousin works at the dealership where Marcus was employed. Key word was, he got fired about a month ago. Apparently the HR director found out about his affair with Simone. It is against company policy for managers to date subordinates. They gave him the choice to resign or be terminated. He resigned. I felt a flicker of satisfaction, but mostly I just felt nothing. Okay, and it gets better. Simone got fired too. Not because of the relationship, but because she was posting on social media about how she and Marcus were this power couple, and she mentioned details about dealership clients. It violated her confidentiality agreement. I had to laugh. So they both lost their jobs? Yup. And according to my cousin, Marcus is working at a used car lot now, making probably half what he made before. And Simone moved back in with her parents because she could not afford rent without her job. The universe has a funny way of working things out. It really does. That night, sitting in my house now, I thought about everything that had happened. The betrayal, the anger, the calculated revenge. And I realized something important. I did not win because I destroyed Marcus financially. I won because I refused to be the victim he wanted me to be. When he came home that Sunday night and told me he found someone better, he expected me to fall apart, to beg, to plead, to make it easy for him to be the hero in his own story, the guy who nobly left his boring wife for an exciting new love. But I did not give him that satisfaction. Instead, I used the tools I had, the documentation, the attorney, the laws that protected me, and I made him face the consequences of his actions. The $12,000 in alimony checks arrived every month, like clockwork. I used them to pay down the mortgage faster, to invest in my retirement, and to take trips I had always wanted to take, but Marcus said we could not afford. I joined a gym. I started painting again, a hobby I had given up years ago. I reconnected with friends I had lost touch with. I even started dating, though casually and with no rush. 1 year after the divorce was finalized, I was sitting on my back porch with a glass of wine, watching the sunset when my phone buzzed. It was an email from Patricia. Kendra, thought you might want to know. Marcus filed for bankruptcy last month. The credit card company was suing him for non-payment, and the personal loan went into default. He lost the car Simone was driving, and his wages are being garnished to pay back what he owes. Just wanted to keep you in the loop. Hope you are doing well. Patricia. I read the email twice. Then I closed my phone and took a sip of wine. I did not feel happy about his bankruptcy. I did not feel sad. I just felt free. Because the woman who had been married to Marcus, the woman who had trusted blindly and loved naively, she was gone. In her place was someone stronger. Someone who knew her worth. Someone who would never again tolerate being told she was not good enough. Marcus had said he found someone better than me. But what he did not realize was that in doing so, he freed me to become better than I had ever been. And that, in the end, was the greatest revenge of all. 6 months later, I received a message on LinkedIn. It was from Marcus's ex-attorney, the young guy who had been so overwhelmed by Patricia during the divorce proceedings. Ms. Williams, I know this is unusual, but I wanted to reach out. I recently left the firm where I represented your ex-husband, and I wanted to say I learned more from your case than I did in 3 years of law school. Your attorney absolutely destroyed every argument we made, and it was because you were so prepared. I just wanted to say I think you handled that situation with incredible grace and intelligence. I hope you are doing well. I smiled and wrote back a simple response. Thank you. I appreciate that. I am doing very well. And I was. Welcome to my channel. I share new life stories here every day, and I would really appreciate it if you hit subscribe and like my video. I am really glad you are here and that I could share my story with you. If you liked it, show me by liking the video and subscribing to my channel. Let me see how many of us there are. Write in the comments which city you are watching from and what time it is. I am so curious to know where all you wonderful people are tuning in from. If you want to support me a little extra, you can also send a small donation. I share new life stories for you every single day. And now 2 of my most popular stories will pop up on the screen so you can choose what to watch next. Did you like the story? And which city are you listening from? Thank you so much for your sweet support. I am looking forward to your comments on the story. On the screen, you can see 2 new life stories that I highly recommend. There is so much more on my channel. Do not forget to subscribe. See you in the next life story. With love and respect.